All right, so we're here sitting in a new office and we're going into a little bit different piece of content for us. We're gonna call it Gear and Gadget, and it's a hybrid product review, but I know on YouTube and like podcasts, you get into all these product reviews and you see guys basically reading a specification sheet or reading a product listing off a website. Like when you're talking about bows, they're talking about axle length, draw length, adjustability. Any normal person can go find that information for themselves. What this is the best and worst of our individual purchases for hunting gear. So we all brought different pieces of gear here today, and we're gonna go over them, the goods, the bads, the pros, the cons, whether we like them, whether we think they're a piece of gear and we would buy it again, or if we think it's a gadget and a waste of money. So let's get into it. Who's going first?
I'll start.
Before we get started, there's one rule. We have to lay some groundwork here. The term game changer cannot be used. If you say game changer, you're banned from the show forever.
All right.
There's gonna be no one left on the show after 4
So
episodes.
anybody watching this, if we bring anybody in and they're bringing a piece of gear in, if they mention game changer, they're
out.
getting the axe.
And don't leave any game-changing comments in.
Yes, no game-changing comments.
Today I have brought to the table the most comfortable saddle on the industry. So let me back up that information. Over the last year, we tested a handful of saddles. I don't want to say what wasn't more comfortable, but in our testing, the CRÜZR XC was the most comfortable saddle on the market. Now I hunted out of this saddle exclusively last year. I will say I did 98% of my hunts out of a saddle. The other 2% were on the ground. I didn't use a tree stand at all. And I made a lot of modifications to my set, and I went as mobile as I possibly could. And the CRÜZR XC is what worked best for me. And then, so a little bit why I like this saddle more than others. I am a sitter more than a stander. And with this saddle, it has an extendable pleat. And you can see how much material is there. Yeah, go and grab that. Yeah. So you can see how much material is there. That's a lot more added material that really cups the bottom of your leg. It even goes way further below than your butt. And the way this saddle is intended to be used, if you're looking at the non-pleated saddles, they recommend you to wear them around below your waist. You don't want it above your belt line. This saddle is actually recommended to be worn above your waistline, so it gives you more back support and it still cups your butt. And honestly, like when you're sitting in this saddle, it feels like you're sitting in a hammock. Like I would sit against the tree, knee pads against the tree, and I sat like 98% of my hunts in this saddle, and it was by far more comfortable than what I was using last year.
Yeah, another thing I think that helps with adjustability or the comfort of the saddle is, and there's other saddles that have this on the market, but just having an adjustable bridge to adjust that, whether you want to sit or stand or make it wider, make it narrower, depending on how you're running your tether, and to alleviate some hip pinch or make it more snug around your torso, around your hips. I think that that plays a big part in it.
Yeah, I think the only thing that both of us didn't like, Jake, you ran this saddle as well this year, right?
A couple times, 2 or 3 times. I can't comment, and I don't have anything to compare to.
But so the way these leg straps are positioned,
The angle,
yeah,
it's a little bit
tight.
gets into your junk,
yeah.
basically.
So that was the only thing that I didn't love. And so when I'm walking in, I leave these clipped. I don't wear them. I don't wear the leg straps walking in. So that made it more comfortable walking in. And when I get up into the trees, when I strap in my leg straps, I just left them loose. Because really, these leg straps are only there to help you if you fall. They don't hold you in the tree. So,
And a lot of guys don't even wear it. Like,
yeah.
There's some guys that will just cut these off or not wear them at all. And there's some saddles that these
the
are
Latitude,
removable.
The Latitude saddle, you can get this with or without.
Yeah.
So this isn't an essential piece of gear for hunting out of the saddle. it's an essential piece of equipment for fall protection.
So again, we're not a saddle company or saddle experts, but I think to have a fall rating, you have to have leg straps on the device.
Which makes sense.
So comfort scale 1 to 10, where does this fall? And then where would be, some of the other ones you used in the past? You don't have to name them, but.
Okay, so that I'll give it an 8 out of 10. Like extremely comfortable. And comparably, I got 5, like a 5 out of 10. I ran 2 other ones, and it was like 2 previous years models. So the 2019 model was like a 3 out of 10, and I thought it was comfortable. And then the last year's model was when I compared the 2, and it was like a 5 out of 10, and then this was like light years above, like an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, the only thing I would add to that is I also ran 2 different saddles off and on, going back to the old trophy line, like the old neoprene, like that were made in the 90s. But breaking down like those individual saddles and kind of comparing them, they all have they were built for different reasons, and they all have different specific function. Like one was meant to be super, super lightweight, and you're talking, what does that thing weigh? 2 pounds?
Yeah,
you're talking 5-6 ounces. Like
the ropes you use way more than.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, you're splitting hairs there, but when something's designed for that, you're giving up probably some comfort or adjustability, and then I mean that's the basic point there. It's going between 1, 2, 3 with 4 different models.
Yeah.
So 4 different models, but they're all kind of built for different reasons. But if you're hunting out of a saddle exclusively, especially during the rut, like on those all-day sits, that's a question that some of my friends ask me a lot, is like, well, how long can you sit in that, or how comfortable is it? And I always say, it's just like a tree stand. You can sit there all day, but you can have the most comfortable stand in the world, but you're still going to have pressure points. You're still going to have times where you have to move or fidget a little bit because you're getting uncomfortable. It's saddle hunting, or that saddle is comfortable. You're still going to have points and times where you need to adjust yourself or move, so it's not like you're sitting still like a mannequin for 10 hours and you're able to just fall asleep.
No, it's not. And there's other things that you can get the back band to relieve some back pressure. And what's so nice about that extendable pleat is if it's not comfortable for you, just close it.
Yeah.
Or if it's more comfortable, extend it. And it's so easy to just extend or close and shift on your body. That's another, it's almost like a 2-panel, but it's all built into one.
Yeah.
The 2-panel saddles are what they say is the most comfortable saddle. I've never ran one, but talking to like John Eberhard, he's like, comfort level, anyone that's getting started in a saddle, like I'm going to put them in a 2-panel saddle just because of the adjustability.
Yeah.
This is a little bit more limited with adjustability, but still gives you that extra adjustability compared to just a single pleated saddle. Is it the lightest saddle on the market? No. But to me, out of what I've ran, it is the most comfortable saddle today.
So it's the most comfortable one I've ran too. For me, I think the adjustability of that pleat is kind of utilized most when you're sitting. When you need to sit and rest against a tree, whether you have you and I both kind of are similar in the way we get set up, where we like to stay tight to the tree. And I think some of that stuff comes from John Eberhard. Just knowing John and talking to John, like there's so much content around saddles and these weird funky shots, and not really utilizing the advantage of having that tree between you and an animal to stay tight to that. But when you're staying tight, when you need to sit, like when you roll that pleat down and get that extra material underneath of you, it's like you're sitting, I don't know, like a hammock, but a swing. Yeah. It's
just a chair in the tree.
Yeah, that's essentially, And there are some saddles like that JX5, is JX3.
Yeah.
It's like it is like a chair that you're sitting on. But to me, like carrying that big thing in, like not from that product's not for me, but that.
Yeah, this serves that purpose. Yeah. And it works. I killed my first saddle buck this year. It was out of that saddle. And I think the tree that I was set up in, if I wasn't in a saddle, I wouldn't have killed the deer, because there was no cover. I was on the edge of a field. I would have been skylined, and I kept the deer between me and the tree. Like the deer was on the other side. Turned around and bleated. There was a doe below me. Buck came in, and I whacked him.
With the extinguisher?
With the extinguisher.
Oh, jeez. That's a whole other episode.
That's another inside joke here.
But that's it for me. That is
So the big question, gear or gadget, where does this fall?
gear, 100%.
Okay.
I'll hunt with a saddle until something better comes along.
Awesome. All right, I'm gonna dive into. So here's a disclaimer for myself. I'm probably the least gear centric on this table right here today. So if I don't get technical, don't blame me. I'll just tell you what works. So this is what comes with a typical harness that you buy on Amazon at a retail store. Serves its purpose, I'm sure, as they go in and try to strategize how to hit a certain price point where they're trying to do, especially in the retail environment. This is what you get. And it's a 11 millimeter or 13 millimeter tether here. And
Linesman. That's a linesman's rope, right? To go, like positioning strap to go around.
See, already. I'm just going to tell you this. This is what I've lugged around for years. And I was like, oh, you know, it is what it is. And then when those saddles and the equipment got sent over, Cameron said, well, you need to run this with it. I was like, man, this ultimately picking up the difference of these two, it's just so much lighter. And the best part of this Oplex rope here is, which was would be the upgrade between what comes out of the box with most harnesses, is how light it is, how small it is. You can roll this up right into your pocket extremely well. And how many times if you had the amount of like a cuss counter as you're going in getting ready, this causes way more than what this does. I'm not saying it's perfect,
Right.
but there's more.
The cuss counter, I like
Yeah,
that.
there's less cusses with this than this. So I mean, for me, it's just a major upgrade. Now, I understand. I have this. Help me out here. Kong. This retails for like $59 on some various websites, and so that gets rid of the slider here.
The CRÜZR.
So it's a little bit more effective too as you're getting set up, and it's just easier. So I understand that this is a major cost upgrade, but if you're using it for saddles as well, and you're using it for your safety harness, I mean, I think it should be considered in your whitetail budget. I mean, this is certainly serves its purpose. It's great out of the box, but I think you'd be really surprised just upgrading to some sort of Oplex rope.
Yeah, go ahead.
So that's an interesting perspective on the rope, because like in the saddle mobile world, like Sterling Oplex is kind of like, that's the rope you need, and it's kind of understood. But from a tree hunter perspective, like using that as your tether around the tree, or using that as your lineman's rope to get rid of that,
So
that's
much
like,
easier.
yeah, that's like, I don't think enough people know about that.
Well, I don't think if you're using this as a tether, you need to have some type of, it depends on what kind of harness you're using, because I don't know that this is rated for like shock loads, like for fall protection. Like, so if you have an expandable harness, like if that's put in your harness, you could use that, but I don't know that you want to change that out for a hard tether, depending on what kind, it depends on what kind of harness you actually are wearing,
Right.
to use that as a tether. But for a linesman, 100%.
Well, even just for alignments, on the perspective of going up and doing a hanging hunt and having this to swing out as you go in a tree that's thicker in the base and gets thinner on the top, it's really nice. Now, it's just being able to throw it in your pocket instead of having this thing
It's so much
on your
more
back, and it's just it's just stupid.
We see the same thing, like going through and testing, like doing all these different things with saddles, upgrading to this versus like what comes with standard with some of the saddles. It's a big.
This is 8 millimeters.
Yeah.
And it's way lighter, way more pliable. And I think that's 13 or 10. But that one might be 10, and then the one that comes with like a tethered saddle is 13. It's huge.
Yeah. It fills up. It's hard to keep
That's the
two in one dump pouch, so it's like added.
Yeah, you
back
coil it up, and the
Yeah.
footprint's much larger.
Yeah, we'll show you the difference between those two things, like side by side.
See, the surface area is so much less in comparison to the two.
And the Kong, like this was something that we went through over the summer, because I'm like, not a simplest, but like I kind of like rigging stuff and knots, and I don't know. Cameron got on board with the Kong and these ascenders, and I was like, you don't need that. Like you just use a tether, or use a prusik, or if you need a different type of hitch, there's different knots out there. If you really want more adjustability, you can tie a tender on there, and you don't need to spend $60 on a Kong. And then I was wrong. After I'd used one, I was like, oh, this is actually, it just makes it easier for fast adjustability if you're in crunch time or in a situation where deer's coming, you can make a fast adjustment. It is easier to use.
Yeah,
that
I'm not,
device.
like my point with it is, I'm not saying like it's a make or break. It's not like
No, it's
you're
not.
going to need it every time that you hunt.
No.
But in a scenario where you grab your bow, this is if you're hunting out of a saddle, you grab your bow and that deer does something that you didn't anticipate, and you need to lengthen or shorten your tether. You got to put your bow back down to use the CRÜZR. With that, your bow's in your hand, or you're up or you're down, and like whatever, you're still ready. So
yeah, you still have to take the weight off of off the cam.
yeah, but the one-handed operation is just like it's so much easier.
And it's the same thing. Like if you have it using it as a linesman, hanging a tree stand, like it's the same. Like you got a stand in your hand, and you need to make an adjustment. You don't have to. Yeah, you just
a lot easier.
Yeah, one-handed operation. So what would you say, gear or gadget? Oh, let's do both. Oplex or gear, gadget.
Definitely gear. I mean, this is gear at the end of the day too. It still serves its purpose. It's still, it can still save you. But man, it's like, I don't know. It'd be like driving I'm gonna use in my terms here, like driving a Hyundai Elantra, which is what I used to drive, or driving a newer vehicle. I mean, the difference, wow. Between using this on one hunt and then the next day, like in October, using this one, I was like, holy cow, this is a lot nicer. But I know there would be some people like, there's no way that's worth $60. Okay, like find a buddy that you can borrow with for one hunt, and you'll probably see the same thing that I did.
that was my same thing. Like I'm not spending $60 on it, and after I used it, I spent $60 on it.
Yep.
So
all right. So gear.
Gear. I'm gonna be the odd guy here probably. What I brought in is more of a. Well, I'm not gonna go there yet, but it is. I guess you could consider this scent control.
Yeah.
This specific product has some organic matter in it and basically vanilla extract. I'm not going to name brands, but this is something I've heard Mark Kenyon talk about. It's something I heard Dan Johnson talk about. There's several people that have talked about it, or figureheads in the whitetail space that have talked about it. And it's something that when I was struggling in the big woods with access, there is no scent control there. It's something like when you walk in, you're going to be sweating your butt off regardless of how hot or how cold or how you dress. I mean, layering is important there. But I thought that, maybe this product could help me. And what its objective is to jam the olfactory glands. Is that right? So essentially, the smell is supposed to be so overpowering and overwhelming that it's jamming the ability of that whitetail to smell while it's contained in that area, basically. What I found was, I don't know that it necessarily helped at all. I don't know necessarily that it really hurt, but I think that we've all probably been at a point in our whitetail hunting or in our whitetail hunting journey where we think that maybe a $5 or $10 product could help. So you spend 10 or 20 bucks on it and you find out that, it really doesn't make a difference. And that was the case with this, because the more I learn and the more which I continue in learning about whitetails, but for a mature deer to walk into an area and have such a strong, like smack in the face odor that they have not smelled before, I think, in my opinion, is alarming.
Yeah.
That's as bad as them cutting your boot track, or maybe not as bad as cutting human scent, but it's still gonna put them, hey, what's this smell? I've never smelled it here before. Something's out of place.
Yeah. And it just goes along with the age-old theory that you can cover human scent. It's just human covered in vanilla.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not just vanilla. That's like you still smell. And that is just sticking some glazed donuts all over you.
And I don't know, I'm sure this company probably has some kind of study done that shows it being effective. Again, this is just a hybrid review. This is our opinion on stuff that we've spent our own money on and our opinion on it. So it's subjective any way that you look at it. But it's, again, it's just something a little bit different. Gear or gadget, for me, this is definitely Gadget. I bought it once, never bought it again. I would never plan on buying it again. To me, it's a trinket.
Jake?
Do I vote on this as well?
Yeah.
I've never used personally. There's a lot of people that I would respect in the whitetail world that speak highly of it, but I would probably I see your point. And with no experience, I have to go with, I haven't bought it for a reason. So there's your answer.
Yes, I mean, I bought it once, and it's in my tote with all the other stuff that I thought could cover my scent. It's not just this product; it's cover scents. I don't use them, and because I just don't think I'm ever going to not smell like you.
So that's pretty much a wrap, guys. You know, we're doing this in effort to kind of help educate you, give you guys our opinions on these products. Hopefully, you can, you know, use that and make better decisions on where you want to spend your money on some of these products. Maybe you don't want to spend money on these products. So be sure to leave some comments below, smash that subscribe button because we have more of these coming to you.